The stars were cold and endless above the silent desert world. His ship had fallen from the sky like a broken bird, and now it rested in the sand, half buried, smoking, useless. The traveler stepped out carefully, his boots sinking into the dust. His name did not matter here, because on this strange planet, he was no one. He was just a lost man with no way home. The air was thin, but he could breathe it. The sky glowed red, and two suns burned like angry eyes. He carried a small pack of food and water, knowing it would not last long. Still, he walked forward. He had to find shelter, maybe people, maybe some way to survive. For hours, he saw nothing but rock and dry land. The silence was heavy, like the planet itself was watching him. Then, suddenly, he heard a sound soft, weak, almost like a cry. He turned sharply, his hand reaching for the small tool at his belt. He moved closer, his heart beating faster. The sound came again. It was not an animal. It was not the wind. It was the sound of a child. Behind a broken stone wall, he found her. She was small, her skin pale blue and shining faintly in the red light. Her eyes were large, round, and filled with hunger. She looked at him not with fear, but with desperate hope. Her hands trembled as she reached forward, as if asking for something she could not say. She was an alien, but she was also just a child. The traveler knelt down slowly. He opened his pack and took out a piece of food-dry bread. Not much, but enough for her small hands. She grabbed it, pressed it to her mouth, and ate quickly, almost choking as she swallowed. She looked at him with wide eyes, and for the first time, she smiled. A weak, tired smile, but still a smile. He felt something in his chest. He had not seen another living soul since his crash, and now here was this child, fragile and starving. He gave her more water, letting her drink slowly. She coughed, then whispered something. Her voice was thin, but her words were clear. "You want a wife?" The traveler froze. He thought he had heard wrong. His eyes narrowed as he studied her face. But she spoke again, this time more certain. "My mother is perfect for you." The words struck him like a stone. Why would a child say such a thing? He did not answer, only stared at her. She held his gaze, her little hands still clutching the last crumbs of bread. Her voice grew softer, almost like a secret. "You gave me food. You are kind. I know. You will like my mother. Come." The traveler stood up slowly. His heart beat harder. This was not what he expected. He had only wanted to survive, maybe fix his ship, maybe find a signal. But now, this alien girl was speaking of things he could not understand. A wife, her mother. What strange custom was this? The girl pulled at his hand, trying to lead him. Her strength was weak, but her will was strong. He hesitated. Was this a trap? Was someone waiting for him? Or was she just a desperate child who believed a stranger could save her family? The desert around them gave no answer. Only silence and the endless red glow of the sky. Still, he followed her. Something inside him told him he should not let her walk alone. They moved across the dry ground, her small feet leaving prints in the dust. He looked around, always alert, but saw no one. Only the broken land, the sharp rocks, and the girl who would not let go of his hand. At last, she stopped. She turned. To him, her face serious, her eyes brighter now with hope. She pointed toward the horizon, where the land dipped low into shadows. There, hidden between cliffs, was something shapes, faint lights, movement. A hidden place. A secret home. She whispered again, her voice trembling. "My mother will be happy. You will see." The traveler said nothing, but inside his mind, questions screamed. Who was this mother? Why did the girl speak of her like this? And why did he feel a strange pull, as if the world itself wanted him to walk into the shadows ahead. The desert wind blew softly. The sun sank lower, painting the sky blood-red. The traveler looked once more at the girl. She smiled weakly, trusting him fully, as if she knew he was the one who must come. He took a deep breath, tightened his grip on his pack, and stepped into the shadows with her. But deep inside, he knew one thing. His life had just changed forever. The cliff swallowed them as they entered the narrow valley. The traveler felt the air grow colder, heavier, like the walls themselves were closing in. The little alien girl held his hand tightly, her steps quick, as if she feared the shadows would steal her if she slowed down. The faint lights ahead grew stronger glimmers of fire hidden deep inside caves. He smelled smoke, the scent of roasted roots, and something metallic in the air. They were not alone. At last, they stepped into a hollowed canyon where life still clung to the rocks. Crude homes were carved into stone walls, glowing with dim firelight. Shapes moved inside figures, tall and thin, their skin glowing faintly under the red sky. Alien women. Dozens of them, when they saw him, silence spread like fire. Every eye turned. The traveler felt their stares press against his skin. Some eyes were filled with curiosity, others with fear, and a few with cold suspicion. The little girl did not notice their judgment. She only pulled him forward. "This way," she whispered. The traveler walked carefully, his instincts screaming danger, but he kept moving. He had no other choice. They stopped before the largest cave. The girl turned to him, her small face glowing in the firelight. She looked up at him with a strange mix of pride and hope. "My mother is inside," she said softly. "She will be happy to see you." The traveler's throat tightened. He wanted to ask why. Why had she spoken of wives? Why had she chosen him, a stranger, to bring into her home? But before he could speak, the girl slipped inside the cave, pulling him with her dot inside. The air was warm, heavy with the smell of herbs. The cave was lit by fire, set in a stone bowl. Her shadows danced across the walls. And there, standing tall, waiting, was her mother. She was unlike the child. Taller than any human woman, her body strong but graceful. Her skin was the same pale blue, glowing faintly with silver lines that curved along her arms and neck. Her eyes were deep, wide, and sharp, reflecting both strength and sorrow. For a moment, the mother and traveler only stared at each other. The silence stretched long. The girl broke it with a laugh, weak but bright. She ran forward and hugged her mother's legs. "Mother," she said, her voice filled with joy. "He gave me food. He is kind. He is the one." The woman's eyes narrowed. She touched her daughter's head gently, then looked back at the traveler. "The one?" Her voice was low, smooth, but carrying weight. The girl nodded eagerly. "Yes, he came from the sky. He will help us. He will help you." The traveler finally found his voice. "I don't understand," he said carefully. "I only helped your child. That is all." But the girl shook her head stubbornly. Her little hands curled into fists. "No, you are different. You are strong. I knew when you gave me food. You will not let us die." The words struck him like cold iron. Not let them die. What did that mean? The mother stepped closer, her eyes never leaving his. He saw no fear in her, only a deep sadness. "You should not have come here," she said softly. "Our people are fading. Our men are gone. Our children grow weak, and strangers from the sky. They never stay." The traveler frowned. The girl had spoken of her mother being perfect for him. But now, the mother's words carried only warning. The child, however, would not stop. She clung to her mother's arm, begging, "He must stay, mother. He can save us. He can save you. The cave grew colder. The traveler felt the weight of their eyes, the weight of something unsaid. He had walked into more than a village. He had stepped into a secret buried under silence. Later, when the fire burned lower, the girl whispered again, close to his ear. You don't understand now, she said, her eyes wide and shining. But you will, my mother. She is perfect for you. She is the one you are meant for. You cannot leave. Her words sent a shiver through him. He wanted to ask why, but she pressed her small finger to her lips, as if warning him to stay quiet. Outside, he heard the low voices of alien women speaking in the dark. Some sounded fearful, some sounded angry. One word repeated again and again, carried by the wind. Outsider. The traveler closed his eyes, listening. He did not yet know their full secret. But he could feel it now, heavy in the air like a storm waiting to break. The child's secret was not just about her mother. It was about the survival of them all, and somehow it had already become part of it. The cave was silent except for the slow crackle of fire. The traveler stood just inside the doorway, unsure if he had walked into safety or into a trap. The little alien girl stayed close to her mother, her small hand clinging tightly to the woman's robe. She smiled proudly, as if she had brought home a gift. But the mother did not smile. Her tall figure stood still, her eyes fixed on the man. She studied him the way a hunter studies prey. Her gaze was sharp, yet not cruel. There was something behind her eyes' pain loss, and a kind of hope she tried to hide. You came from the sky, she said at last. Her voice was low and heavy, carrying both strength and sorrow. The traveler nodded slowly. My ship crashed. I did not mean to disturb your people. Her eyes softened, but only for a moment. She glanced at her daughter. You gave her food. For that, I thank you. But you should leave. Outsiders bring danger. The girl gasped. No, mother, he is different. He is strong. He is kind. He must stay. The mother touched her daughter's head, gently but firmly. Hush, child. Yet the girl's words lingered in the air like sparks refusing to die. The traveler could feel the weight of them. He could see the question in the mother's eyes unspoken, but alive. The mother moved closer to him, her tall figure casting a shadow across the firelight. He could see her more clearly now. She was beautiful, but not in a human way. Her silver lines glowed softly across her skin, tracing patterns like rivers of light. Her eyes were deep, holding stories too heavy. For words, the traveler felt something stir inside him, a pull, strange and unsettling. He tried to push it down. He had come only to survive, not to feel. What is your name? She asked. He hesitated. His name felt small here, almost meaningless. Still, he spoke it. The sound of it echoed oddly in the cave, as if the walls themselves had never heard such a word before. She repeated it slowly, tasting each syllable. Then she looked at him with a strange expression. You do not belong here, but perhaps you were sent. Her words unsettled him. Sent? By who? Before he could answer, voices rose outside. Other women were gathering near the cave. Their tone was sharp, filled with suspicion. The word outsider echoed again and again. The mother turned her head, listening, her jaw tight. They do not want you here, she said softly. They fear what you mean. The traveler's hand touched the hilt of his knife. Then I should leave. But before he could step away, the mother raised her hand. No. If you leave now, they will not let you live. Outsiders do not survive once they are seen. The truth hit him hard. He had walked too far into their hidden world. There was no turning back. The little girl, sensing the tension, stepped forward bravely. She looked at her mother, then at him. "Mother," she said with sudden fire, "you cannot send him away. He is the one. He is the one who can help us." Her words were wild, but they carried power. The mother flinched as if the child had spoken a truth she feared. The traveler frowned. "Help you? How?" The girl's lips parted, ready to speak, but the mother silenced her with a sharp glance. "Not now," she whispered. The fire crackled, louder, filling the silence. For a long moment, no one spoke. The mother's eyes stayed on him, locked with his. He saw conflict, their duty, fighting with desire, fear, fighting with hope. Finally, she spoke again. "If you stay, you must know. Nothing will be the same. Not for you, not for us." Her voice carried more than warning. It carried invitation. The traveler felt his chest tighten. He wanted answers, but all he found were mysteries. Why did the child believe he was meant for them? Why did the mother's eyes search his face like she already knew him? He opened his mouth to demand the truth. But before he could speak, a sudden shout came from outside the cave. Angry voices, the sound of stone being struck. The people were restless. They wanted him gone. The mother's eyes flickered with fear, but only for a moment. Then she straightened, tall and proud. "You cannot leave tonight," she said firmly. "They will come for you in the dark. Stay here, stay near the fire." And in the morning, her voice lowered, softer, filled with something almost tender. "In the morning, we will speak of what must be done." The traveler said nothing. He only sat near the fire, watching the shadows dance across the cave walls. The little girl curled beside her mother, smiling as if everything was already decided. But for the traveler, nothing was clear. Only one truth echoed in his mind. He had not just met the mother. He had stepped into her world, and her world was about to claim him. The night was long. Outside the cave, angry voices rose and fell, like waves crashing against stone. The traveler sat near the fire, his hand close to his knife, his eyes never resting. He felt like prey trapped in a hunter's den. The little alien girl had fallen. Asleep, her head resting in her mother's lap. The mother sat still, her long fingers brushing her daughter's silver hair. Her glowing skin reflected the firelight, making her look like a figure carved from light and shadow. She did not speak for a long time. Finally, when the cave was quiet again, she looked at him. "You should not be here," she said softly, "but now you are. And fate does not give back what it has taken." The traveler frowned. "Your people do not want me. If I stay, I bring you trouble. If I leave, I risk death. What do you want from me?" The mother's eyes darkened. She lifted her daughter gently, laying her on a bed of woven cloth near the fire. Then she stood, tall and graceful, moving closer to him. "What I want." She paused, her voice trembling with something deeper than fear. "Is what we all want, a future." Her words hung in the air. He stared at her, confused. She stepped even closer, her silver patterns glowing faintly across her arms. "Our men are gone," she whispered. "War took them, disease took the rest. Now only we remain, women and children. We survive, but each day we grow weaker. Soon there will be no one left." The traveler felt the weight of her words. He could see it in her eyes: loneliness, sorrow, and something desperate. "And me?" he asked carefully. She met his gaze without fear. "You are strong. You are alive. You are different. My daughter believes you were sent. And perhaps I believe it too." The fire cracked between them. The traveler's heart beat faster. "You want me to stay?" he said slowly. Her lips curved not into a smile, but into something fragile. "Not as a guest, not as a prisoner. As my partner. As my mate." The words cut deep. The cave felt smaller. the air heavier. He had expected suspicion, maybe threats, but this, an offer of union. He shook his head slightly. "You don't even know me." Her eyes burned with quiet fire. "I do not need to know your past. I know what I see. You gave my child food when you had little for yourself. You protect without being asked, and you are not afraid of me. That is enough." The traveler looked at the sleeping girl, then back at her mother. Something twisted inside him. Part of him wanted to refuse, to walk away, to escape this strange bond, but another part felt a pull he could not deny. "You ask much," he whispered. She stepped even closer. He could see the faint glow of her breath in the firelight. Her voice dropped lower, softer, almost like a secret. "Do not ask. I offer. Stay with us. Be one of us. Together, we can give my people hope. Without you, we fade into dust." Her hand rose, not to touch him, but to hover close, so close he could feel the heat of her skin. The silence between them was heavy, full of meaning. He swallowed hard. His mind screamed to resist, but his heart beat louder than reason. Before he could answer, a sharp cry rang out from outside. The voices had returned louder, angrier. The sound of stone striking stone filled the air. The people were gathering. The mother's eyes flickered, but she did not look away from him. "You hear them," she said firmly. "They will not allow you to leave alive. You must decide, tonight, now. Stand with me or stand alone." The traveler's chest tightened. The fire hissed, casting wild shadows across the cave walls. The sleeping girl stirred, her small voice murmuring in dreams. The mother's hand hovered closer, trembling with something between fear and longing. Her eyes locked on his, unblinking, waiting dot. In that moment, the traveler knew his life had been split in two before this night and after it. Whatever choice he made, nothing would ever be the same. He did not yet know what his answer would be. But one truth was clear. This was not just survival. This was destiny. The morning came with a pale red glow as the suns rose slowly above the cliffs. The traveler opened his eyes to the sound of voices outside the cavalo, tense and restless. The alien girl still slept near the fire, her small chest rising and falling. But her mother was gone. He stood, his hand on the knife at his belt. He stepped to the mouth of the cave and looked out. The hollow canyon was alive with movement. Dozens of women stood together, their silver-lined skin glowing faintly in the dawn. Their eyes all turned to him at once. The mother was there, standing. At the center, her tall figure was calm, but her jaw was tight. She raised her hand and the voices quieted. "This is the outsider," she said, her voice echoing across the canyon. "He fell from the sky. He fed my daughter when she was starving. He is not our enemy." But the people were not convinced. One of the women stepped forward, her voice sharp. "He is dangerous. Outsiders come and trouble follows. We survived without men for many seasons. We do not need him." Another shouted, "If he stays, he will bring more of his kind. And then we will all be slaves again." The traveler stiffened. Slaves? His eyes narrowed. What had happened to these people? The mother silenced them again with a single look. Then she turned to him. Her voice lowered, softer now. "You must know the truth of us, if you are to decide." She led him through the canyon while the others watched with hard eyes. The girl ran after them, clutching his hand as if afraid he would vanish. They passed old stone carvings on the canyon walls, strange figures, tall warriors, men and women standing side by side. But many of the carvings were broken, the men's faces scratched away. At last, she stopped at a deep chamber carved in two. The rock. The air inside was heavy with silence. The traveler saw bones laid carefully on stone shelves. Not just men's bones. Soldiers' armor, broken and blackened, rested beside them. This, the mother said softly, is where our fathers, brothers, and sons sleep. They fought a war to protect us. None returned. Her hand brushed one of the stone shelves. The sickness came after. What few men survived the war? The sickness took them, one by one, until only we remained. The traveler felt the weight of her words press into his chest. He finally understood the emptiness in the village. The silence were men's voices. Should have been. The girl looked up at him, her small eyes shining. That is why I said it when you gave me food. You are strong. You are kind. You can be what we lost. The mother turned to him, her face calm but her eyes unsteady. Some of my people wish to kill you. Others wish to use you. But I... She hesitated, her voice dropping lower. I only wish for a chance for my daughter, a chance for us. The traveler's throat tightened. He felt all their eyes, even here among the dead. He was not just a man who crashed on their world. He had become something more, a symbol, a hope, or maybe a weapon. What if I refuse? He asked quietly, the mother's lips pressed into a thin line. Then they will destroy you before nightfall. They will not risk another outsider walking away with our secret. Her words were not a threat. They were truth. The little girl gripped his hand tighter, her voice trembling. Don't leave us, please. Don't let us fade. The traveler looked at the bones again. Generations of warriors who had given their lives, a people broken, holding on by threads. And now they looked to him, a stranger, for salvation. His heart burned with conflict. He had never asked for this. He had never wanted to be part of their struggle, but the girl's eyes, filled with desperate hope, were harder to refuse than any blade. The mother's voice broke the silence. This is our truth. Now you must decide if you will carry it with us or die with it. The firelight from their torches flickered across the bones, making the dead seem to watch him too. The traveler's breath came slow and heavy. He did not speak, not yet, but deep inside. He knew the truth of the village was not just their past, it was now his future. The canyon was restless that night. The traveler could feel it in the air like a storm gathering, heavy and dangerous. The alien women whispered in corners, their glowing eyes following him wherever he walked. Some looked at him with fear, others with hunger, and a few with pure hatred. The little girl stayed close, never letting go of his arm. Her mother stayed watchful, always between him and the people who muttered in the shadows. But even she could not stop what was coming. That evening, the council gathered. A circle of elder women, their silver-lined skin glowing brighter than the others. They sat around a fire in the canyon floor, their voices sharp and cold. The traveler stood beside the mother, his hand near his knife, knowing he was not welcome. Here, one of the elders spoke first. Her voice was dry as sand. This outsider is dangerous. If he stays, he will change us. If he leaves, he will reveal us. There is only one answer. Her hand slid across her throat in a clear gesture. The girl gasped and clutched his arm tighter. The mother's jaw tightened, but she said nothing yet. Another elder leaned forward, her eyes glowing. But maybe he is the answer. Look at him, strong, alive, untouched by the sickness. He could give us back what we lost, the women began to argue, their voices rising like fire. Some demanded his death. Others whispered of using him for survival. The traveler felt their words like knives stabbing from every side. Finally, the mother spoke, her voice cutting through them all. He is not an animal to be used. He is a man. If he stays, it must be by his choice. If he leaves, her voice shook for the first time. Then it is his fate. The council fell silent, but their eyes burned with anger. That night, the traveler tried to rest near the fire in the cave. The girl slept quickly, but he could not. His instincts screamed. Danger. The air felt wrong, heavy with unseen eyes. He was right. He woke to the sound of footsteps, quiet, careful. Shadows moved inside the cave. His hand shot to his knife. A figure lunged. He rolled aside as a blade struck the ground where his chest had been. Another figure rushed forward, teeth bared, eyes wild. They were not strangers. They were women of the village. Die, outsider. One hissed. The traveler fought hard, his blade flashing in the firelight. He blocked, slashed, kicked, his body moving with pure survival. One attacker fell. Another screamed as he struck her arm. The noise woke the mother. She rushed into the cave, her silver eyes burning. In her hands, she carried a long staff of stone and metal. She swung it with deadly force, striking one of the attackers across the chest. The woman fell, gasping. The others froze. The mother's voice thundered in the cave. Enough. You will not touch him. The attackers backed away, their faces twisted with rage. One spat at the ground. You protect him. Then you betray us all. They fled into the night, leaving only silence and blood. The little girl clung to her mother, crying. A traveler sat against the wall, his chest heaving. His blade was red. His hands shook, but his eyes were steady. The mother turned to him, her face hard. Now you see, they will not stop. Some want you dead. Some want to claim you. And I. Her voice broke slightly. I only want to keep you alive. The traveler swallowed hard. His mind raced. He had known danger, but this was worse. This was betrayal, not from strangers, but from those inside their own walls. Why protect me? He asked quietly. You risk everything for me. Her eyes met his. For the first time, they were not just sad, but fierce. Because my daughter believes in you, because I see the same, and because if you fall, we all fall. The girl's small hand slipped into his. She looked at him with tearful eyes, whispering, Don't leave us. Don't leave me. The traveler felt something shift inside him, something he had tried to resist since the beginning. He looked at the girl, then at her mother, then at the shadows where betrayal still lingered. He had crashed here as a stranger, but now whether he wanted it or not, he was bound to them, and the worst truth of all was clear. The real danger was not outside the canyon, it was inside. The canyon was still burning with whispers of betrayal. The traveler sat by the fire, his blade still stained from the night before. The little girl slept close to him, her small hand resting on his arm as if to keep him from leaving. The mother sat opposite, silent, her silver eyes fixed on the flames. The silence between them was heavy. They all knew the truth. The people would not wait much longer. At dawn, a horn echoed across the cliffs. The traveler stepped outside, his breath sharp in the cold air. The entire village had gathered, their glowing eyes fixed on him. Some looked at him with fear, others with anger, and a few with desperate hope. The elders stood at the front. Their leader spoke. Outsider, the time has come. You must choose, stay or die. If you stay, you belong to us. If you leave, you will not live to take one step. The traveler's hand tightened on his knife, but he did not draw it. His eyes searched the crowd. He saw the girl watching him, with tears in her eyes. He saw the mother standing tall, her face calm, but her heart burning behind her gaze. He realized then this was not about his life alone. His choice would decide the fate of everyone in this canyon. The mother stepped forward. Her voice was strong, but it carried pain. If he stays, it must be his choice, not fear, not force. Her words shocked the crowd. Murmurs rose. some angry, some uncertain. But the traveler's chest tightened at her courage. She was risking everything for him. The little girl broke free from the crowd and ran to him. She grabbed his hand, her small voice trembling. "Don't leave us. Don't leave me. You are the one who can save us." The traveler looked down at her. In her eyes he saw more than hope. He saw trust, the kind no child should give so freely. He looked up at her mother. She stood still, waiting, her face unreadable. But her eyes begged for something more than survival. His heart thundered. He thought of the stars, of the life he had lost when his ship fell from the sky. He thought of freedom. He thought of leaving this broken world behind. But he also thought of bones laid in stone, of warriors who had died so their people might live. He thought of a village of women holding on by threads. And he thought of a little girl who smiled when he gave her bread, and a mother who stood against her own people to protect him. Slowly, he sheathed his knife. The crowd gasped. The traveler's voice was steady. "I will stay." The girl cried out with joy, throwing her arms around him. The mother closed her eyes, her breath shaking as if a weight had lifted from her. The elders murmured, some furious, some stunned, but none dared strike him now. The mother stepped to his side, her tall figure standing beside his. She spoke to the crowd with fire in her voice. "Then he is no longer outsider. He is ours, and with him we will live again." The people did not cheer, but the storm of anger broke. Some turned away, some stayed in silence. But none raised their blades. The traveler looked at the mother. Their eyes met. For the first time, she smiled not with triumph, but with something softer, something real. That night, the canyon was quiet. The girl slept peacefully, dreaming. Without fear, the mother and the traveler sat by the fire, the shadows dancing around them. "You did not have to choose us," she said quietly. He looked at her, his face calm. Maybe not, but leaving would not have been survival. It would have been death in a different way. She lowered her eyes, her voice trembling. "Then perhaps this is the beginning of something greater. Or perhaps it's the beginning of something dangerous." He nodded slowly. Both. The fire cracked. The stars burned above the canyon. For the first time since his crash, the traveler did not feel lost. He felt claimed by a people, by a mother, by fate itself. But deep in his chest, he knew one truth. This was not the end. This was only the beginning.